might be retired, but he's still not out. Join former Australian all-rounder Jason Dizzy Gillespie and Travis Wakeling for some unfiltered cricket chat, legendary stories, and a laugh or two along the way. Let's play. All right, so welcome to the second installment of Ask Dizzy on the Still Not Out podcast. Diz, I couldn't keep up. I tell you what, so since the first episode, I have been hanging out by my phone, waiting to see what kind of questions come through, and the phone hasn't stopped buzzing.
Wow.
It's just been question after question. So I messaged you during the week, and I was like, mate, this is actually becoming a bit of a problem for me. I think we might have to do this weekly. So first of all, welcome back to your podcast, Dizzy.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Gillespie, mate. Great to have you on board. You've been a busy boy this week. I've seen you making waves on the Fast Bowlers Cartel podcast with and plenty of opinions. You're back on X as well. Tell the followers what your tag is on X so they can jump on your account and have a listen.
Yeah, so look, I was on the old X, which was Twitter, many years ago, and I actually ended up having about 150,000 followers. But then I sort of got rid of that a few years back because it was just, it wasn't much fun anymore. And but I suppose the sport content on X is brilliant. So I thought I'd set up a new account and go. It's Dizzy259. Jump on, give us a follow, and I've built up to about 800 followers already in the last couple of days, so it's moving along. But yeah, jump on and you'll hopefully see some good cricket content.
Well, the best cricket content was you threw a bouncer straight down at Kevin Peterson as well, who's I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I saw that he suggested that you can be hit for a 12. As a bowler, you'd be pretty upset with that, and it looks like you took no exception.
Yeah, no, not having that. That's just a bit of nonsense for me. Look, it's a batsman's game as it is, So I just think suggestions like that. Look, I applaud Kev for trying to change things up and maybe progress the game, but that's not the way to do it. It just wouldn't work.
I don't think it would either. But hey, some big news dropped today. We got the Ashes squad, and look, you never told me you were a prophet, but you did take the 14 out of 15 from your squad. So clap to you. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell us who you missed, though.
The one I didn't get was Sean Abbott. I didn't expect him in the squad. But look, he's a fine bowler from New South Wales and has played for Australia in the one day and T20 formats. Hasn't made his test debut. So I think I think the selectors, I reckon their discussion was probably between Sean Abbott and Michael Neser. And so they've obviously gone with Abbott. I personally, push come to shove, out of those two, I probably would have nudged for Neser. But look, I think it's a pretty strong squad. I think the decision will be, Trav, whether they want to give a test debut to Jake Weatherald and open and put Marnus at 3, or which, if they do that, it will mean one of Green or Webster will miss out. And that a lot will depend on Cameron Green's bowling. So that's why I think this next round of Shield cricket, how many overs does he get through, will be important. The other way they could go is open with Marnus, leave Weatherald out, and that way they can play both Webster and Green. I personally don't think that's the right way to go. I think the Jake Weatherald selection suggests that he's going to make his test debut at the Wacker. At the Perth Stadium, sorry. Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Just a few extra 1,000 seats. But well, that is where you and I differed in our final team. But your squad pretty on point. So it'll be interesting to see once the 11 is announced, obviously, maybe a day before the test.
Maybe I should be a selector, Trav.
Well, I was gonna put that to you. Maybe you've taken a little bit of a sidestep from coaching. You're doing the media now. Maybe selectors next down the track. So something to watch this space, hey? Well, I see that Steve Waugh said that George Bailey doesn't make big decisions. So I know that you wouldn't be afraid of making a big call there, Diz.
I think if you're in that role, a selector's role, and I've been a selector in various forms, obviously in my roles in coaching, I've been a selector, and sometimes you have to make the tough call at times. But as long as you've got reasons and you stick to those and they're well thought out, I think it's okay. And I think people understand that it's a pretty tough job, but someone's got to do it.
Someone does have to do it, and someone's got to read you these questions as well, dears.
Okay, let's
The
get
ask
underway, Trav.
Dizzy segment. I've got heaps of questions waiting, and I do apologise if we miss anyone. If we do miss anyone, we'll endeavour to get to it on the next episode. But I had one come through actually straight after we recorded the last one from Tommy Flanners. Good follower, loves state cricket. Tommy Flanners had a look at the account. So thanks for your question, Tommy. Tommy's asked, state cricket is the heartbeat of the game. How do we make it front page news again and get the big crowds attending the Shield like back in the glory days when you played, Diz, when you were dominating for the Redbacks?
Yeah, thanks, Tommy, for the question. Look, I mean, I'd love nothing more than to see cricket on the back pages of the newspaper. I remember back when I was playing and when I started and throughout my career, the advertiser here in Adelaide, they'd dedicate 2 or 3 pages to Shield cricket sometimes, depending on the way the games were going and the like. Now you just get maybe a little column, and that more often than not it's coming from the Eastern Seaboard, and the scores in a little the Sports Digest of the scores. So it's pretty disappointing that it's not being reported in our daily newspapers. I think a step in the right direction has been the live streaming, and you can watch games on KO and the like. I think that's a real positive, but I think that can be done better. I've been fortunate enough to do a bit of the comms work on that, as you have, Trav. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? And
right.
I just think Tommy's exactly right. It is the heartbeat. This round of Shield cricket is going to be fantastic starting on November 10. I think 14 out of the 15 squad members are going to be participating in this round of Shield cricket, the Ashes squad. So I think that's absolutely fantastic for the domestic game. But we need the media to buy in a bit more, particularly the newspapers to get cricket on the pages, domestic cricket on the pages, not just the international stuff, but let's get the domestic stuff on the broadsheets. It'd be fantastic.
I love that, Diz. And this question's along the same sort of line, except going back even to grassroots levels. This one's come through from Jai Hicks. And Jai Hicks has asked what your thoughts are on the current state of grassroots cricket. Interest seems to be dying in the past decade, both by the interest of players and support from Cricket Australia and state associations. Do you have any thought on what could be done to rectify this as players, clubs and governing bodies? It's a big question for you, Diz.
Yeah, it's a big question, and I'm not too sure, Jai, if I've got an answer for you. But I'll try and answer as best I can. I think we just need to make sure that cricket is at the forefront of everyone's minds and make it attractive to play. I think, I don't think just playing T20 cricket at the lower levels is the answer. We want the longer formats played, whether that's 35 overs or 70 overs for weekends. I'm not sure. But we just want participation. I remember the old Have a Go clinics that were put on by the state associations in Cricket Australia. Haven't seen much of those in recent times. So maybe that's something that state associations can look to invest in again. Maybe some of those clinics, getting out to schools, and I think that's really important. But I think as much as anything, it's tied into the previous question about the media. Can we get the media following our domestic game? It'll be a flow-on effect for me down to the grassroots.
100%. I totally agree. And it's funny being involved at club level with, I've got a son who plays cricket, both at Premier Cricket level and in the community. But there almost is this big shift towards trying to keep the parents as engaged as possible. Because you think about it as a parent, if you're not a cricket lover, I can only imagine how much of a drag it could potentially be sitting out at a game of cricket all day on a Sunday when you have those thoughts about all the different things that you could be doing with your game. I don't know if you've got it could almost take a whole podcast segment one day, but just ways to keep parents involved so that they actually encourage their kids to stay involved in cricket, particularly through those teenage years.
Maybe a wet bar at the ground, the free wet bar that might keep parents engaged. But yeah, look, it's a tricky one, isn't it? And people seem increasingly time poor. these days. So, I mean, I remember as a kid catching a bus to cricket training and catching a bus to games at times. If mum and dad were busy or unavailable for some reason, you just cracked on. I think kids generally love the game. They'll find a way to play, and mum and dad will find a way to get them there. But yeah, look, there's no easy fix. There's no easy answer.
Yeah, I saw. I was at my son's soccer game the other night. I saw a carry cart with ice and a number of beers rolling around the and an FPOS machine rolling around. So I think that was quite clever. But the
That,
soccer
that
games are only 40 minutes, so
that's very clever. Yeah,
I think so too. Brilliant idea. All right, so I'm going to get to the questions that have come through this week because those ones were actually leftover ones from last week
right.
that were right after the recording. So the first one I'm going to ask you, and this is timely because we've seen some footage of Big Jackson taking a wicket on the MCG for the first time, playing for the National Indigenous squad, which is really exciting. But if your son was to be selected in the Aussie team, where would he be placed in the lineup? That's coming from Suzanne Olsen.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Suzanne. Yeah, look, he's very early in his cricketing journey at the moment, and we don't know how far he'll go. But the first and foremost, he's loving the game, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, I think at this stage, Suzanne, he's a bowler. He's working on his batting, but at the moment, he's batting pretty low. He's playing at Adelaide University at the moment, and I think he's batting anywhere between 9 or 10 or something. So he's a lower order player at the moment, but he fancies himself with the stick. So I think he'll gradually work his way up. I just think he just needs to, as like any young cricketer, they need time in the middle, whether it be with the bat in hand or the ball in hand. They just need time in the middle to learn and develop their game. So yeah, at the moment he'd be pretty low at the moment, Suzanne. But thank you for your question.
I think I've heard it on good authority as well that there's a 2.5 hour video of you batting in Bangladesh that might be on repeat in the Gillespie household.
Yeah, that 2.5 hours. That's just the highlights. So so yeah, get on YouTube if you want to watch the greatest innings in the history of the game. Yeah, it's 201 not out versus Bangladesh in 2006.
Not far off at all. This one's come through with from Matt Hutchinson. Did you have any interactions with the great Sir Geoffrey Boycott in your time at Yorkshire? If so, what were they like?
Yeah, I certainly did. He was the first 2 seasons I was coaching at Yorkshire. He was actually president, so he was a great supporter of myself coming on board. He was on the part of the selection process to select the new coach when I got on board. So I kind of, because I was doing the interview from Zimbabwe where I was coaching at the time, and I was on the phone, and there were a number of questions. There was a director of cricket, there was the captain, there were a couple of people on the board, and Jeff Boycott, who was president, was coming in as president, and they said Martin Moxon, the director of cricket, actually said to me, Dizzy, so we'll let you know we've got candidates to talk through, and we'll let you know a decision in the coming days. And then Jeff just finished off by saying, just before I got off the phone, he said, Jason, you're in his thick Yorkshire accent, you're going to love working here. And Martin jumped over the top and said, Dizzy, we'll let you know at the as soon as a decision's been made about, we'll let all the candidates know. And I think Sir Jeff Boycott gave it away then. And I got off the phone and I went to my wife, Anna, and I said, I think I've got the job. And I explained that little interaction, and we had a bit of a laugh. And sure enough, about an hour later, Martin rang me up and offered me the job. So it was, it was quite funny.
The rest is history. What a good time. Hey, now this next question, I've got to give Adam Bannon, Cricket USA, a shout out because he has been sharing our content like you wouldn't believe. He's got 20,000
Adam,
he's his own.
Great supporter of ours, isn't he?
He is sensational. So I noticed when I was looking at our podcast numbers as well that lots of our listeners are coming from the USA, Diz. So
brilliant, fantastic.
Maybe that could be our target market moving forward. But Adam, big shout out to you. Now his question was he wants to know about your collision with Steve. What were you thinking as the bowler was running in, and the situation of the game and the aftermath and all those sorts of things?
Oh, I just literally just thinking about the ball. Adam, thanks for the question. It was just I saw the ball. Mihaela J. Warden played a sweep shot top edge, and I was running in from deep backward square. Stephen was running back out from short fine leg. I just had eyes on the ball and just focusing on that. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear Stephen calling for the ball or anyone else saying be careful or watch out. It was just one of those surreal moments, and yeah, we collided, and yeah, everyone rushed to Stephen because he had all the blood pouring out of his nose and his face, and poor old me was down on the side and with a busted leg. And then I think someone realised that I was in a bit of trouble. So finally, someone came over, and in the end, I had a couple of people carry me off the ground. Stephen walked off, but he had a big towel on his face and blood everywhere. And yeah, it was a pretty ugly, awkward incident.
What was the damage for you, Diz?
I broke my leg, and I broke my right leg and my right wrist. Yeah, it was just one of those things. And what actually happened? We went to the hospital and got fixed up, which was great. And yeah, so it was they did a great job at Colombo Hospital looking after my leg, and yeah, and looked after Stephen's nose. So yeah, they did a great job.
What do you think's worth more, your leg or Steve's nose?
Well, Steve should thank me because his nose is actually straight now. So he'll hate me for saying that.
Yeah.
But Steve actually had for a number of years after that, after the collision, he every now and again, every few months, he'd get a really bad migraine that really floored him for a period of time. And so, yeah, I mean, I missed a lot of cricket. He didn't miss much cricket, but yeah, he suffered some migraines for a number of years after, which wasn't ideal.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if in this day and age, that would be, a huge, huge story as well. So, couple of tough nuts there. Now, Lincoln Wildlife, another good supporter of ours, he said, this is a bit of a non-cricket question, actually. I think summer must be near in Australia. Do you like surfing? Now, people in the USA may not be hearing about our algal bloom in Adelaide, which
No,
is
well,
just
yeah.
causing havoc everywhere.
I enjoy the surf. I enjoy going in and having a dip in the ocean, but nah, surfing. I'm a bit too uncoordinated to surf. But thanks for the question from Lincoln Wildlife.
Always a good question. Now, this is a good one from Dave Hen. I reckon you might know Dave, just from the type of question this is. When
Is
do I
that
get that?
Dave Hendry?
It is Dave Hendry. And he says, when do I get that pint back that you owe me?
Oh, hang on, Dave. Hang on. I think you owe me, David, Mr. Hendry. You owe me. But Dave was our neighbour in Leeds when we lived there, and Anna and I are godparents to one of their daughters, Dave and Heidi's daughter, Amelie. And so, hello to all the Hendrys. I hope you guys are well there. And it's probably getting a bit cool in Leeds at this time of year. Now it's November, so try and stay warm. We're trying to stay cool here now, Dave. So, but thanks for the question, buddy.
Just a bit. And Leeds not going too badly in the EPL either. Now, this is a really good question. This is from Gold Coast Rainforest Tours.
Yep.
So this is a little plug. Sounds like more like a business than a person, but hey, plug for the Gold Coast Rainforest Tours. Now, in Test cricket, I love this. In Test cricket, no one has scored a double century. No one sorry, I've buggered that. No one who has scored a double century has taken 10 wickets in a match. So Dizzy must be the closest. You've taken 9 wickets in a match?
I took 9 wickets in a match, yeah. But I reckon Ian Botham or Wazim Akram would have, surely.
Surely. We'll have to look that up. But
Yeah,
here's the
have
question.
to look that up.
So what's a better achievement, a double century or 10 wickets in a match?
I think you'd have to look in the statistics. Now, I don't have the numbers, but what is more common, 10 wickets in a match or double hundred? And I reckon that would probably be your answer. So whatever has occurred less frequently is probably the answer.
You'd have to be 10 wickets in a match.
Yeah, look, I would have loved to have got 10 wickets in a match. I got 9 on a couple of occasions. But yeah, I would have loved to have got a test 10 for that. Would have been great.
That would have been huge. And then this one's just more of a comment, but Adarsh Pretmishkra. Sorry if I've buggered that name, but he said that his best bowling trio, of the ultimate bowling trio of all time, was Lee, Gillespie, McGrath with Warney, the icing on the cake as well. So he just wanted to share that that
thank you very much.
little
That's
thought
very
with
kind.
you. So now I've got one question just to finish off, because we're in the midst of a T20 series, and I want to go back to the one T20 international that you played for Australia. It was in New Zealand. I believe it was the first T20 international.
No, I was 12th man for that game.
So it must have been the T20 in England against pre-Ashes. Right, there we go.
So the quirky stat there is that in my one and only T20, because we had a big training session like for about 3 hours before the game, and England came out and took it all serious. It was still early days of T20 for us. So we were sort of using it just as a bit of preparation. And I was actually practicing a short run-up in that game. And, yeah, that was probably not a good idea because I went for 45 off 3 overs. So
49, actually.
Did get a wicket. I got Andrew Strauss out. He dragged a full toss on to the stumps, but I got belted everywhere. But the quirky stat is we got rissoled for about 70-odd, and I top scored. I was so... In my T20 international career, I've got one score. I was not out as well. I think I got like 24 or something off about 17 balls. So I've got a good strike rate and no average. And in my only T20.
Imagine if you didn't take a wicket either. You would have no average bowling and no average batting.
Yeah,
even though you
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's some elite stats from you, Diz. Now, before we finish up, for the show, the T20 International Series, Australia and India, it's evenly poised, 1-1 at the moment. There's been the washout to start with, then Australia took the low-scoring game, and then India were able to do a number on us just a couple of nights ago. The fourth game tomorrow night in the Gold Coast, and then finishing off at the Gabba on Saturday night. What do you think the rest of the series might look like?
Yeah, I really like the fact that India played Arshdeep Singh, the left-arm swing bowler. He's got over 100 T20 international wickets. I've actually been perplexed as to why he hasn't been in the side from the get-go in this series. I just wonder if the Indian management that have been overthinking their selections a little bit. I think, having a bowler like that who can swing the ball up front and take wickets is absolute gold in T20 cricket. We know Australia's game plan is bat with 7 recognised batters, including a couple of the all-rounders. And if 2 of them come off, they're all big stroke makers. If 2 of those come off, they post a significant total. So to take wickets in T20 cricket is an absolute priority. And that's why I think India have got it right. It's going to be tight, I think. With Australia obviously now missing Travis Head, he's going to prepare for the Shield cricket. So they're going to have to find someone to open, maybe a Matt Short, an opportunity there, or a Mitch Owen having an opportunity there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm going to say this will go to the final game at the Gabba to see who can take this series. So, we could end up with a washout or a draw on the Gold Coast. And then
we're not playing at the SCG, mate. It should be fine.
Yeah. That's true. But all to play for at the Gabba on Saturday.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a big finish to the series before we get into the red ball stuff. But Diz, absolute pleasure. Thanks for answering all those questions. And if you did want to ask Dizzy a question, just keep an eye out for the post on socials, or you can jump onto our page at the Still Not Out podcast. Jump onto the socials and flick us a direct message or comment on one of the posts, and I'll be able to add that question to the list and ask the great man. It could be anything about life. If he's good with life advice. So if I
don't know about that, mate.
Parenting, marriage, anything like that. And then, even if it's, it could be coaching, fast bowling, you want to know an old story. There's so many things that you could ask him. I'll be the filter if it's obviously something that he doesn't want to answer. And we love hearing from you. So great way to stay engaged with the podcast. So Diz, thanks very much. And
good on you,
let's do it all again next week.
Look forward to seeing you next week, buddy. Cheers, mate.
All right, mate. Ciao for now.